What's up, everybody, man? Back. Welcome to a brand new video, and today we are going to be unboxing and reviewing the Real Feel Godzilla Evolved, Godzilla 2024 from Godzilla Kong, the New Empire. The Kong Real Feel wound up being one of my least favorite figures, simply because something about it really trips me out with the textures. Let's find out how Godzilla fares in the Real Feel world. Let's jump into it. Today we're going to check out the Real Feel Godzilla, which was part of Playmates' last big wave of Godzilla figures before the new one, which I haven't seen any of the new ones in the wild yet, but supposedly they're out there. Either way, this marks the ending of the Godzilla Kong the New Empire branding, and so let's take a minute to appreciate the box. I really do like it. As always, I've liked the colors, I've liked the crystals, I like the Godzilla and Kong. Got Godzilla and Kong there, crystal there. On the back, you've got the Real Feel Godzilla with the crystals, and then you've got all of the characters down here, which I've reviewed all of. I've reviewed every single one of those guys, except the Kong with the battle axe, just not different enough for me to get compared to the previous GVK ones. On the back it says, Godzilla has evolved into an all-new form. Now, faster, stronger, and even more powerful, Godzilla thunders into battle with a supercharged heat ray and city-destroying tail swipe. But he does not come with an atomic breath accessory. Alright, let's check him out. And here is the Real Feel Godzilla. Let's see how easily the tail goes on. Kinda high difficulty for a Playmates, but as far as regular figures go, very easy. I'll just say, right off the bat, right out of the box, I really dig the coloring on this guy, let alone anything else. As for the figure, this is the same sculpt as the regular Godzilla Evolved, which is to say, it's fine. I think Playmates' Godzilla Evolved is pretty good, but not great. The face itself looks alright, the eyes are, as always, they look fine, but they're painted on in a way that does not do the sculpt any justice, as they're too big, they're painted too big. The teeth look good, I really like the gills on the neck going through the back, he looks fine. The side of the body is very smooth as always with these Playmates ones, although the material and texture here isn't like normal where it's a really hard plastic. The seams from the head to the body are actually very subtle compared to normal because the head is made of a soft rubber and the body is also made of a soft rubber. The spines on the back look fantastic. I love the texturing throughout them, and the new very pink spines that they have here, very transparent, kind of pinkish purple, do highlight the textures within the spines very well. The tail itself is that normal rubber, although it feels a little softer than normal. I think they've done a good job sculpting the spines onto the top of the tail and the thagomizers on the tip there. The arms look alright. They've got really nice texturing up at the top on the shoulders. The elbows look good. The forearms look really good with that really plated alligator-like hide. The hands look good. The arms are also very rubbery. They're a lot more bendable than normal, and they normally are bendable. This one has a really nice kind of rubbery feel to him overall. Well, I guess he is the Real Feel. That really allows him to kind of bend in ways that the normal Godzilla doesn't. And then the legs look really good as well, particularly on the outside. They've got a decent amount of sculpting moving down towards the feet. The feet look good as well. The inside of the legs are very smooth as always, but I suppose it's to allow articulation. The paint job on this guy is very different than normal, and I'll be honest, I really dig it. It's a lot darker overall. Godzilla's body is a lot darker here. It's basically going with a charcoal grayish black design for Godzilla, very similar to the Toho Godzillas. The eyes themselves are painted on too large, but they're very consistent with all of the other Playmates Godzilla Evolved, so I'm not going to knock it necessarily, but I will bring it up. The teeth are painted white, the tongue is painted pink, that looks really good. The spines on the top of the head are painted a dull pink, and the pink spills over through a gradient onto the neck. The spines on the back are a very vibrant purplish pink transparent plastic, so they're not painted, but they look fantastic. I really like that color a lot. They have painted the new elbow spikes on Godzilla, which look really good. The tail looks really nice as well. The top of the tail is all pink. It almost matches the pinkish purple of the spines in a way that I'd say is more consistent than normal for Playmates. And then through a gradient, it goes into gray on the bottom. As for the rest of Godzilla, the only other paint he has is on his chest. He's got kind of a whitish paint. I'm not sure why. It doesn't really reflect any aesthetic Godzilla has in the movie, but I do like the darker colors. You know, I think Godzilla Evolved generally looks darker, and in the movie he looks more brown in some shots just because of the lighting around him reflecting on him. Because if you look at the actual model, the sculpt, like on this shirt for instance, he's gray kind of of with that white chest. I suppose I can see what they're getting at with the white on the chest through sculpts like this. As for articulation, he comes with the standard amount for a Playmates Godzilla. The head does not want to turn side to side at all, so maybe it's a little less than standard. I was expecting the head to be able to turn on the neck, and it just will not. The mouth opens and closes though. The arms can spin all the way around. The legs can kick out actually pretty far, kind of because he's a softer rubbery plastic. They have more mobility than normal. They can actually rotate full 360, and the tail can do the same. It can rotate. Because he's mostly rubber, he actually has a bit more flexibility than normal. Like the tail's really flexible. It really bends. The legs can kind of bend, not terribly, but kind of. The feet kind of have a little bit of a bend to them too, a little bit of a give. There is no articulation on the feet like normal, so a little less than usual. The arms have a really nice soft feel to them, so he can like really bend his arms in and smack out, and like there's a lot of mobility there. And then even the head, you can kind of like force it to turn a little bit. There are only 6 points of articulation on this guy, so a little less than normal, but overall I like what's there. As for the Real Feel gimmick, if there was a real feel for Godzilla, I don't think it would feel rubbery at all. The real Godzilla would feel like rock. I mean, he is so strong, his hide is so thick, I think the real Godzilla would feel like you're scratching a mountain. However, the Godzilla suits from back in the day feel like latex, so not quite the way this feels, but not terribly far off. The only Godzilla toys I've ever felt have gotten truthfully close to capturing the real feel of a Godzilla suit, that really nice latexy feel, were the Microman Godzillas from back in the day. And the new MonsterVerse Godzilla doesn't have a suit counterpart, so he doesn't really need to feel like foam latex. I can understand why they made him feel rubbery, because it kind of plays into the idea that Godzilla's like reptilian, and so it makes sense to me. Is it just another way to sell a variant toy of Godzilla? Absolutely, but it has a really nice in-hand feel, and actually as a kid who loved rubber toys, probably would have liked this one a little more than the normal one. Comparing him to the normal one, you can see they are the same size, but they are night and day in terms of color, literally. This one looks like it takes place during the day, and this one looks like the night version of Godzilla. Night and day. The original release was a lot more blue than the Real Feel one. I'm not really sure why. He traded out the pink spines for orange, so I actually like the accuracy of the new Real Feel one more. I think the eyes are painted in a little more glaringly obvious way, that they look off because the color is so much more vibrant than on the new one. The chest being brown is kind of an upgrade over the chest being white, but I think the white complements the new look a lot. But I do really like the darker colors. I think that the darker paint job overall is the stronger and more aesthetically pleasing paint job, as well as the pink looking more accurate than the red and orange on the original release. They have traded the sculpt of the elbow spikes with a much smaller elbow spiked sculpt for the Real Feel Godzilla, but I'm glad they painted them, unlike on the original Godzilla. I'm actually quite surprised about that fact, that the only thing they changed the sculpt of was the elbow spikes. They made it a little more subtle, a little more accurate to the movie, I would say, and they painted them, which is nice. The only thing we're missing here is painted fingernails and toenails, which the original release had, but the new one doesn't. Another Godzilla who I would say comes close to having a Real Feel aesthetic was the Playmates Evolving Godzilla, which is of course the rubber Godzilla, one of my favorite Playmates figures they've ever released. The rubber is a lot softer than it is on the new Real Feel one. The Real Feel one feels like a soft rubbery plastic, whereas this one is straight up actually rubber. I kind of feel like this is a little closer in texture to what the Godzilla suits actually feel like, but this is closer in terms of the firmness of a real Godzilla suit. They're actually very firm. So it's kind of a trade-off, but they are standing off against each other. This looks like the evolution, like we go from this to this, you know. We evolve from this blue rubbery Godzilla to a much more sturdy Godzilla, but still kind of retaining that rubberiness, which I really like. And then we have the Real Feel Kong with the flock fur and the plastic beast glove. I don't like holding him. The texture still grosses me out. It doesn't feel anything like fur. Fur would be soft. This is not. This guy I don't love. Color palette wise, they kind of do complement each other's darkness. Like they both look like the night versions of their respected characters. Like this is the nighttime colors. The downgrades in Godzilla's articulation are not as noticeable as the downgrades in Kong's articulation, where the Kong went from being highly articulated to being minimally articulated, but they do complement each other fairly well standing next to each other, so I do appreciate that aspect of it at the end of the day. And he still has the peg in his mouth, so you can put some atomic breath in there if you have some from your other Godzilla figure. Look at that, the Real Feel Godzilla with atomic breath. Now you can really see that color difference between the spines and the atomic breath, showing the difference between the spines between both Godzillas. The Real Feel Godzilla from Playmates, I actually like it quite a bit. I really like the coloring on this guy. I think the overall aesthetic looks really good. It's the same as the normal Playmates Godzilla, but I do think that the new colors kind of benefit the sculpt a little bit. The rubbery feel feels great in hand. I like it a lot. I think it's a fun enough gimmick for kids. I really appreciate that they've swapped out the spine color in particular and made it look a little more movie accurate. And so overall, I'm happy to give this guy a 7 out of 10 on the children's end Godzilla market. Would I absolutely recommend picking this thing up? Not really, but if you've got some extra cash to spend, or if you like figures with gimmicks, I do recommend this one, especially because it does have a bit more of an accuracy in terms of color to Godzilla from the movie, which I do appreciate. I think it's a fun toy. I have no issues with it. But what do you think? Do you have the Playmates Real Feel Godzilla? Comment below and let me know. As always, I want to give a huge thank you to my patrons over on Patreon. It is through the support of my patrons on Patreon that I'm able to continue to make videos like this for you and review figures in the first place. If you want to support the Patreon, you can use the link in the description below, where you can get early access to content, access to the Discord community, and more. Or if that's not your thing, please consider joining as a channel member. I'd really appreciate it. Thank you guys all for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I will see you all next time for the next one. D-Man out.